Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. Guys, difficult place to go and play Verona, but Napoli come away with three super important points, guys. Welcome to the chat, as always, everybody. Today we are in a good mood after not so much of a good game against Milan, but today the team basically responded to every single piece of criticism that the fans rightly threw their way in the past few weeks. Not only did we say that they didn't have character, but we also said that they didn't have physical strength. We said that we weren't using the wingers well enough. We said that Osimhen was not getting enough service. We said that Spalletti was being a bit too stubborn with his tactics, not changing it up. Well, today, guys, all of that changed. Spalletti went on the field with a new formation of 4-3-3, benched Insigne, put on Lozano, Politano on the other side, and they were providing at least Politano was providing some good crosses towards Osimhen, and that's how Napoli managed to get the first goal. We also saw the three of Fabian, Anguissa, and Lobotka in midfield. So we had both quality and quantity in midfield. And the defense, although they conceded a goal, I think the defense did really well as well. So the change of formation from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-3-3 didn't expose Napoli maybe as much as Spalletti feared, which is maybe why he wasn't quite going to that formation before. But I think this time Napoli played much better football. They were aggressive. We kept it together. We didn't, crack under pressure once Verona got their goal. We kept it at 2-1. And honestly, guys, as I said, I think Napoli responded extremely well to all the criticisms that they received rightly in the past week or so, and not even week or so, but over the past few weeks, guys. So that has to be a positive from today's game. Obviously, guys, before we get into the analysis of the game, we also have to talk about the disgusting banner that the Verona fans put out outside the stadium in Verona before the game, invoking missiles to be thrown to Napoli. And I'm extremely happy that we won the game also for that, because honestly, guys, the best way to respond to such things is to just go on the field, get the 3 points, and just leave these frustrated Verona fans pointless and feeling even more frustrated. There was also an ugly situation in the first half where they were booing Koulibaly, probably because he's black, and Koulibaly responded putting his hand on his ear, pretending that he couldn't hear them. Again, we would like to see Serie take a stronger approach against these things. We want to see this kicked out of football. But I think Napoli did really well not to be too, or especially Koulibaly, not to be emotionally provoked and lose your head. Obviously, it's very easy to do that and probably justified. But at the end of the day, that's something that the referee needs to stomp down on, and Napoli, the players, they just need to play until the whistle. But maybe it's more the coach or someone within Napoli, maybe the president or Giuntoli. Maybe that's someone who needs to step up, maybe step onto the field, stop the game. But I honestly do think that that's something that should happen from someone outside of the players, because honestly, other times we've been penalized, and at the end of the day, like these fans are going to continue doing it unless the referee intervenes or unless someone from the board of directors of one of the two clubs intervenes. The players doing it is just not enough at times, but it's disgusting to see. And I'm very happy that we beat Verona, especially for those two reasons. Daniel Bowen, I think he went to the game. I saw on Twitter. Thank you for your support as always to the channel with the €10 donation. Longest 6 minutes of my life, Dom. Dude's got to work on open play and final third in training. Yeah, so a lot of extra time given at the end of this game, suffering through that. But as I said, this team showed a lot of character, a lot of determination, and again, not only because it was 2-1 and we risked tying the game, but as I said, there was a lot of racial abuse going on, not only towards Koulibaly but also towards Naples as a city, and the players did super well to just keep their focus, because honestly guys, against these idiots, the best form of revenge is winning. That's what's gonna hurt them the most, not €10,000 in fines towards the club. That's just not going to hurt them. So this is really the best tool that the players have, and then let the lawyers and the Serie and the people behind the club deal with the rest, and law enforcement deal with the rest. But let's talk about football, guys. Let's talk about tactics. Let's talk about the technicality of this Napoli team, this grit of this Napoli team. And let's start with We Are Luden laughing at Faraoni at the very top of the chat. Honestly, guys, I loved Napoli's second goal, actually, where Ceccherini kicked the ball out of play. Super frustrated. Apparently he was super frustrated because he just smashed the ball into the crowd. And then Napoli score right after, and then after 5 minutes he gets a red card. That was a highlight of my weekend. I just love seeing Verona getting red cards, losing games, and then their main guy, really, I mean, not their main guy, but the guy who's been there the longest, probably Faraoni, who's scored a lot of important goals against Napoli. He gets a red card as well at the end of the game for protests. Things you love to see on a Sunday, guys. I couldn't be in a better mood, to be honest with you. Anthony Navarro saying here today for not the title talks, but how life after Insigne can be. I felt Politano, Di Lorenzo, and Osimhen were fundamental in the win today, says Anthony Navarro. I do agree. Assists are like goals to me, so I like to keep Politano for next year. Yeah, I think Politano was super good today, defensively and going forward, instrumental for Napoli. And finally, we saw him and Di Lorenzo link up the way that we like to see that, or we want to see that. But that's also because of how Verona let us do that. Let's see. V.H is saying Verona got shafted by the ref in the second half, but overall deserved win. I don't know. I feel like the ref was fair, and actually there was a few situations like the free kick on Simeone where Koulibaly got the ball and Tudor all of a sudden became a linesman, as Joe Fischetti said on Twitter, and he was waving to the ref, trying to call that foul, and the ref succumbed to Tudor's wish, and Verona got a free kick there. So I think the referee actually could have done a better job for Napoli, and the two red cards that Verona got, I think they were more than fair. So I don't think they got shafted at all. I don't think there was anything that favored Napoli in any particular way. Maximus in the house saying, what a heads up by Giovanni Di Lorenzo. Yeah, guys, Di Lorenzo had an unreal game today. Going forward as well, it's something that we saw we said in the recent video. What did I say in the recent video? I said Di Lorenzo needs to get his numbers up. He needs to assist more. Guess what he did today? He assisted. These guys are listening to me. I said it last time, we need to get crosses in for Osimhen's head, and that's what they did. Then I said Di Lorenzo needs to assist, and that's what he did. So I'm just glad that Spalletti and the players are watching Napoli talk, and they're probably smashing that like button. Guys, there's 61 of you right now. So I suggest, if you are watching this on full screen, click the bottom right little window, minimize your screen, and smash the like button. And then if you see that there's a subscribe written in red, you should probably smash that too. And then you can go back to full screen, okay? That's the plan of attack, right? That's the best tactic to enjoy Napoli talk. You're just going to feel so much better, and you're going to get good karma going your way. So that's what you guys got to do. That's what you guys got to do. Paul Vives Escobar is saying, we are definitely not the favorites, but we still have chances. I'm sure that Milan will drop some points. Looks like Inter is going to take it again. I mean, honestly, guys, between Milan and Inter, I feel like maybe Milan have a bit more momentum going their way because they won the derby, because they won against Napoli, because they won yesterday with their center back scoring from outside the box. I feel like everything's going their way at the moment. So that's something that might be a decisive factor in the title race. Payman Dadgar, thank you again for your support to Napoli Talk with your kind donation, $4.49. He's saying, very happy. Finally, we played 4-3-3. Fabian and Zielinski should not play together. We lack balance. Lozano performance worries me. So I do think that the midfield at the moment between Anguissa, Fabian, and Lobotka, there are top three midfielders in terms of their form at the moment. And to be fair, I think we should probably proceed with this. We should probably continue in this formation. We saw that we can get the wingers more involved, Osimhen more involved, and we have both quality and quantity in the middle. However, Zielinski remains a very, very talented player, and I think that he, it's harsh on Zielinski to put him on the bench. I think at times Fabian may need to rest, or Anguissa may need to rest, and at that point you've got to play Zielinski as well. The one player that I'm actually not too keen on coming back into the starting formation, as you guys probably can guess, is Insigne. Not a bad game today, but I like... Lozano didn't play very good either, but we'll see in the analysis how Lozano can sometimes give a little bit more to Napoli in support of Osimhen. So especially when maybe you've got teams that play man against man, or when you've got an opportunity to counter, I feel like maybe Lozano is better suited, although he has to work on his technique, really. Let's see some more comments. I missed the second half to the 80th minute, but we moved, says ID Beats. Blue Line, when I saw the formation at the start, I said, yes, this is a win. Yeah, I mean, look, I was pretty... I can say this now that the game's over, but I was pretty confident today. Not only with the formation, but even just the fact that we're not playing in Naples, because I feel like our away form has been really, really good this year. So no matter where we go and play away from home, I always feel like actually there's a higher chance of us winning the game than not. And as I said, because of all the controversy before the game of the banners that were being shown against Napoli and stuff like that, I thought, that's really going to motivate the players. Whereas at home, I feel like Napoli players tend to feel the pressure a little bit more. They get a little bit of a performance anxiety going on. And, we've only won 3 out of the last 9 or 10 games at home. Losing to teams like Empoli that have only won 1 game in 13. And that's the sort of pressure that we put on ourselves playing at home, and then we go away from home and we can play to our strengths a bit more, because I feel like we have opportunity to counter a bit more, because the home team will be able to have more possession of the ball than maybe when we play at home, which means that we have more counter-attack opportunities. Whereas when we play at home, we tend to control the game. That means that we don't have many counter-attacking opportunities, and I feel like counter-attacks are one of our key strengths. So yeah, I honestly, I feel more confident playing away from home than at home at the moment. Aaron M is saying, I'm just sad Verona didn't stick with Di Francesco. They'd surely be in the relegation zone now if they didn't sack him. You had me in the first half, man. Yeah, honestly, Verona, I mean, they're doing really well this year with Tudor. They've got an incredible attack, maybe the best stats in attack of the league. I think only Liverpool have as many players that have more than 10 plus goals within the same team. So in the whole of Europe, so they're clearly doing something right in attack, and a very physical team. And Tudor in his first season's doing quite well with them. Tammo saying great game by the whole team, especially Osimhen, Anguissa, and Di Lorenzo were superb. I do agree with you, Tammo. Jesse is saying they chanted against Napoli, they chanted against our black players, they also chanted pro-war chants. It's really frustrating. The Verona fans never fail to show their stupidity in more than one way. For the most part, I'm sure there's some lovely people that went to that game supporting Verona, but their ultras are a different breed. Jesse Comitigiani also continues saying, also this 4-3-3 is fantastic for Ruiz, Osimhen and Lobotka, but probably isn't good for Mertens. Well, thing is, right, Mertens wasn't playing anyways with the 4-2-3-1, and I'm not sure it's not good for Mertens, because actually Mertens in the height of his career, when he was scoring goals for fun back, in 2018, 17, 19, peak form, actually it was a 4-3-3. It was that's when Mertens really did his best piece of work, and maybe if needed, then he might slot into this 4-3-3 seamlessly. Very satisfying win. Michael Champ saying Spalletti finally made subs at the right time and Napoli look alive. Bravo Wayo. Yeah, I totally. Oh, bravo Wayoni. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think Spalletti got everything spot on today. I mean, I think the subs weren't really that influential, but. Because I think, the key players were some of the starters. As Tammo said, Anguissa, Di Lorenzo, Osimhen were some of the key players, and Politano as well. But, Elmas came on, he did well and stuff like that. But, yeah, I mean, the subs, at least they weren't wrong. And I think they came in at the right time to give Napoli a bit more life and a bit more oomph in the game. Vincenzo Bertillo, thank you for supporting Napoli Talk with Canadian dollars, $13.99 donation. I wonder why it's always 99 that comes up. Anyways, it's just, I don't know why YouTube doesn't round to a normal number. But anyways, whatever. Thank you for your donation, Vincenzo. Here in Toronto with Francesco. Oh, my boy Francesco, hungover, watching our favorite show, Forza Napoli sempre. Oh, that makes me smile. Vincenzo and Francesco are two of the best guys on Napoli Twitter, some of the funniest guys. They've got memes, they've got... I wanna make sure that if I come to the States sometime soon, that I get to meet as much of you in the States and in Canada as possible. I don't know why I said States first. You guys are in Toronto, but I hope to come to the American continent and go visit a bit of Canada, go visit a bit of the States. I think Vincenzo is from Toronto and Francesco instead is based in the States. I think that's why my head went there. But it'd be amazing to watch some games with you guys as well. Maximus1318 saying, what are you talking about? Verona supporters always classy. Wait, that's not the word. Racist, that's it. Yeah, Verona supporters, they obviously have a lot to learn. They're one of the worst in football, probably. At least that fraction of the Verona supporters are probably one of the worst. Sweet Pasta is saying, too bad for Petagna. Yeah, so Petagna, and Daniel Bowen mentioned as well, still frustrating seeing Chiro not utilized with Petagna hurt, now what? So it's really strange, actually, like the amount of similar injuries that Napoli are experiencing. We've got, I don't know how to say it in English, but in Italian it's called pubalgia, which is basically like an injury in your hamstring / groin area or whatever. And Insigne got it, Fabian got it, now Petagna got it. So there's maybe something going on there with the way that we prepare for games, because Petagna had just come on. He was on the field for 5 minutes, so something in the warm-up was off for sure. Jesse saying come to Canada. You know what, guys? I'm not gonna say it. There will be time to talk about my future plans. There will be time. But perhaps sooner than some of you think. But let's move on to the game. Let's move on to the analysis of the game, because I think this was one of the best games that we could watch tactically, guys. So as I said, Napoli started off with a 4-3-3, and it's very clear from this picture here that Lobotka was the deeper of the three midfielders, and look how much Verona were man-marking Napoli, and it took us a few minutes to sort of get used to this, but I think then Spalletti and Napoli reacted extremely well to this situation. If I can get this going. So because we were man-marked all over the field, it obviously meant that when we then moved the ball onto the wide areas, if we moved it quickly enough, we would also be in a 1v1 or a 2v2 situation there. Now, most teams actually only allow us a 2 against 3, or sometimes even a 2 against 4 in these areas, and that's why also Di Lorenzo and Politano have not been providing as many assists as we would hope from them. But Verona, because they man-mark, then it was clearly a 2 against 2 situation also on the wings, and Politano and Di Lorenzo, they interchanged positions extremely well with each other, quick 1-2s all the time, and that's how the first of Napoli's goals started. It was a throw-in, but still, it's that combination down the flank between those two, and just having enough space to pass the ball around each other into the space, and then take on the last defender with a bit of a dribble, which is Politano's best attribute, and that's why it's actually so important for Di Lorenzo to be ahead of Politano, because Politano then needs to be on the receiving end of that give and go. And this is the goal that we score. Politano receives the ball from Di Lorenzo. Politano crosses it in, and Osimhen, puts the ball in the back of the net. But what we have to realize from this goal is what Lozano brings to Napoli, which is something that I was alluding to earlier, guys. Lozano is able to provide an aerial threat that Insigne is just not able to provide. There's only so much that Insigne can do with his height. It's just not that dangerous in the box. Not only that, but Insigne never gets into these positions, even if it's just to potentially do a tap-in. I've not seen many Insigne tap-ins. Insigne, in this case, if he was on the field, he would be further out or at the edge of the box or something like that, right? But he wouldn't be supporting Osimhen, giving the defender a hard time. The defender, in this case, has to make a decision. Am I gonna stick to Lozano, or do I go and try to cover Osimhen, who's running in from behind? He ends up picking neither one nor the other. The gap between the two central defenders is quite large, and Osimhen is able to get in between them and attack the ball. But that's only possible. That gap was only created because Lozano was there, and because Lozano provides that aerial threat. And that's the goal. I actually think it went the other direction compared to where I drew the arrow, but you get the point. We score. Guys, make sure you are smashing that like button. I don't see enough likes being smashed. So as I said, if you are watching this full screen, on the right hand corner, you can minimize the window and smash that like button, and then smash that subscribe button, and then you can go back to your full screen. And it's just a much better way to experience Napoli Talk after you've done that. In the first half, we had really just, I think, one or two other chances. Maybe Fabian's here was the best one, with Fabian forcing a save from the Verona goalkeeper. And Fabian actually had 2 shots in the first half, both of which inside the box. And that's why he didn't score, because we all know that Fabian only scores from outside the box. That's it. So, if he was 2 or 3 meters behind, it would have been done and dusted. But hey, it is what it is, right? This is what I'm saying about Lozano. He gets into really good positions, right? This is a really good position that he got himself into. For Osimhen's goal, he got himself into a really good position as well to help out Osimhen, right? However, when the ball is at his feet, he sometimes doesn't make the right decision. Or he's just not talented enough to pick out a good pass. I think the intention here was good, giving it to Osimhen. Even though, honestly, the way that the 2 defenders have completely opened the gap up for him, I would have taken a shot if I was Lozano. Lozano has actually a pretty good shot from outside the box. Powerful. I think he had a very good chance here to hit the target at least, right? So I would have probably shot this to the goalkeeper's right. And if it's on target and the goalkeeper saves it, there's actually a very high chance that it would rebound to Osimhen. Because I would go on that side. Because you got to think about also where the rebound might go. But anyways, he decides to pass it to Osimhen, and the pass was just really, really bad. Like, really bad. Like, really, really, really bad. So, yeah, that's really Lozano for you. A bit incomplete of a player. But, having said that, he did this really well. And this goes back to, this is an easy pass, so we shouldn't, be like, oh, Lozano, congrats, you know how to pass a ball. I mean, he's a professional player. You gotta know how to do the basics, right? But he did the basics right this time. But the key thing here is actually Fabian's run and how a team is supposed to counter a team that is aggressive in the man marking. So you can see here that the Verona right back is following Lozano all the way deep into Napoli's own half. Yeah? This means that he's exposing some space behind him. That's when Fabian has to start his run from in front of Lozano to and cross over. And then Lozano has to be good enough to pick out a pass so that when Fabian crosses him, Fabian can pick that up, and then Napoli can transition into the attack. That's how you get past teams man marking you all the way up to your own half, because you're going to be back to goal. So your best bet is actually seeing what your teammates are doing in front of you when your back is to goal, and hoping that one of them will cross paths with you and try to exploit the space that you've left behind. But Lozano did well to actually create that space by coming in that deep, and Fabian did well to cross over at the right time. And guys, I think this is something that they must have trained on the training ground. This is it was very slick, very coordinated, and I think Spalletti deserves a lot of credit here. Kanuhan Flame is saying, did you see Osimhen's post-match interview where he was asked how he improved his headers, and he gave credit to Di Lorenzo and Marui for helping him in training with crosses? Oh man, I would love to see some of those training sessions. I would love to see actually Di Lorenzo and Marui trying to help him out, and then the thing is, we don't see enough of that in the games, so I don't know how much to believe that or how much. But I mean, for sure, Osimhen now, one of his greatest strengths is headers. Visavius is also in the chat saying, I'm not as much of a Giovanni Di Lorenzo fan as most Napoli fans, but I gotta say I loved every second of him today. He might be my man of the match. Yeah, I mean, man of the match, maybe. For sure, I think top three performers. I got to give my man of the match to Osimhen for actually being at the right place at the right time to get to the end of those crosses. And, ultimately, 2 goals. It's hard not to give the man of the match to him. But as I said, Di Lorenzo finally with the assist, finally got some stats to back up his amazing performances. LPT421 saying, Dom, if you had to switch one Verona player for a Napoli player, who would it be? I asked this after the Inter game as well. That's a very good question. LPT421. Well, I mean, there's the obvious candidates. There is obviously Simeone, who's an incredibly talented striker, but he got bullied all over the place by Koulibaly. I think Barak is also a very, very talented attacking midfielder, and I think he's got incredible potential. I really liked Zaccagni last year for Verona. Obviously, he's at Lazio this year. Other than that, I think, it's really just those two. Other than that, the other guys are, yeah, I mean, they're a top, they've got players where you'd expect them to be between 8th and 12th position, which is exactly where Verona are, and I think the only two players at this moment in time that can make that leap into a bigger club must only be Barak and Simeone, for sure. The other ones, I wouldn't necessarily go and take them, but I'd be interested to know what you guys think. Let's see. Stanislav Lobotka, once again overlooked and underrated. So good. No, I never underrate Lobotka. If I were to say something about Lobotka every game, then I think people would just unsubscribe, to be honest. But if I could, I would talk about Lobotka every single game, because he is just phenomenal. The way he can bring down a ball, the way he turns, it's just beautiful. Fabian, he by the way, that whole thing with Lozano ended with Fabian making a run throughout the full field, cutting back to his right foot and very nearly scoring. But again, we talked about it. He shot from inside the box, and we all know he can only score when it's outside the box. Another interesting aspect of this game was Koulibaly. Unreal performance by Koulibaly, to be honest with you. And the fact that he had Simeone in his pocket all game and just followed him around everywhere. At one point, Simeone went to the bathroom and Koulibaly was there. And then he went to get a hot dog and Koulibaly was there. He's gonna find Koulibaly in his house tonight. Koulibaly just would not let go of Simeone, and Simeone managed not to score today, which is kind of news. Like, Simeone is one of the leading top scorers in Italy, and to keep him quiet and to keep him really without a sniff of goal, it's quite impressive. It's quite impressive, to be honest. Jesse saying, we got robbed of Lobotka ball with Gattuso. Oh, we got robbed of so many things with Gattuso. I got robbed of so much of my mental health when Gattuso was here. But not even I could predict how amazing Lobotka would be. Like, you could see it in some games because fundamentally, right, the technique was always there. But right now, he's combining technique with a better physical, or with more athleticism. Whereas under Gattuso, he was objectively quite overweight for an athlete. And so even though he was doing some things right, like he would control the ball right, then he didn't have that athleticism to follow up and beat a man as he does now, and he would only last at most 45 minutes, whereas now he can last 90 minutes. He's able to gain that yard of space after that first touch and all that because he's physically in a much better condition. It's also down to Gattuso for not having, put him in the best condition possible and taking care of that aspect of his game. Obviously, at some point though, we go into the break, and we come back, and we have a crazy 15 minutes where everybody seems to be getting injured. Verona seemed to be much more aggressive than us. Ospina gets hurt. There was fears that he might have to be taken off, and our substitute goalkeeper Meret wasn't even on the bench, so we had to maybe rely on Marfella, who honestly, you never want to be relying on Marfella. I mean, I hope he doesn't watch this video, but it's just the truth. Thankfully, Ospina got up. Osimhen seemed like he was supposed to come off. Petagna was starting to warm up, and it's interesting how Petagna was starting to warm up and not Mertens. And then, all this all of a sudden changed in a second with Ceccherini from Verona pulling the play of the year. So imagine this, right? There's a throw in for Napoli, and Ceccherini, who's already on a yellow, out of frustration for no reason whatsoever, decides to kick the ball onto the stands of his own fans, right? Like straight into the face of his own fans. Gets distracted by that. Napoli, throw in taken quickly. You can see Di Lorenzo making a great run past Ceccherini and then pulling the ball back for Osimhen, and Napoli score. And it's 2-0 Napoli at that point. And at that point you think it's done. The game's done. 2-0. We hit them when they were most dangerous or when Napoli was about to fall asleep. And they celebrated in such a fantastic way. But then Verona managed to grab a goal. I mean, it was always going to be difficult not letting Verona score. They have so many solutions available to them. And Napoli just did not react to Faraoni at the back post. They played really well with each other on their left-hand side, while Faraoni snuck in behind Insigne, got himself into the box, and by the time the cross was coming in, we had Faraoni and Simeone up against Mairo Rui, with Koulibaly defending Zono. This is a very simple way to score past Napoli. Just get the ball to the second post where Mairo Rui is, over Koulibaly, and Faraoni comes in from behind Mairo Rui, has the momentum to get up and over Mairo Rui, and puts the ball in behind Ospina. It's 2-1 at that point. And then Ceccherini gets sent off for a red card, which was always nice to see because of what he did earlier in the game. So he had an awful game. Napoli do hit the crossbar with Mairo Rui. Insigne making a good run. Mairo Rui cutting back to his right foot, getting and hitting the crossbar. And then actually Verona get a red card after the final whistle with Faraoni protesting. But guys, that's really what happened in the game. But the most interesting tactical aspects happened in the first half, as we covered a bit earlier. And here are my ratings for this team. Looks like Lozano will be sold this summer. Transfers as ZA. I don't think so. I don't think Napoli would sell Lozano if they're also getting rid of Insigne. So I think, if you get rid of Lozano and Insigne is leaving, then you've got to buy a lot of players in that position. Unless we can get maybe a very, very good offer for him. Anything above 25 million, you should probably consider. Mike Harstad, thank you for your $2 donation. Forza Napoli sempre via Frozen Minneapolis, USA. Oh, I don't even want to look at how cold Minneapolis might be at the moment, but thank you, Mike. Thank you for your support. And yes, Forza Napoli sempre. Maximus is saying Berardi a free transfer in 2024. Unfortunately, that is 1 year too late for us. Or actually 2 years too late for us. But I really think Napoli should at least consider Berardi, because Berardi is an unreal player, and he deserves to try his luck in one of the big teams. And he's probably ready. He's probably mature enough by now. He's captained Sassuolo. He's got that going for him as well. And honestly, we need players that have leadership qualities as well in Napoli. Anthony Navarro is saying, Dom, the only player from Verona I would want would be Simeone to give him that top club chance. He'd be a cheaper version to Scamacca, which I don't think we would win that bidding war. Yeah, I mean, between Simeone and Scamacca, it's pretty difficult. I think Simeone he's got a bit more experience, and he's only really come alive this year. He's maybe also a little bit older than Scamacca. Scamacca, I feel like at this moment is slightly lower down compared to Simeone, but he's got maybe more potential than Simeone. I don't think we've seen even 50% of what Scamacca can do, because I think Scamacca's the real deal. I think he's going to be one of those players that for the next 10 years we're going to hear a lot about, for sure. Where Simeone, I don't know how long he can keep this up for. And he does tend to score 3 goals or 4 goals all at once, and then maybe go 2 or 3 games without any, and then 4 goals. He's not distributing them well enough, whereas maybe Scamacca is a bit more like 1 goal here, 1 goal there, 1 goal there, 2 goals here, 1 goal here, 1 goal there. Like, they might come at the end of the season with the same number of goals, but if you see maybe how many times they've scored in different games, maybe Scamacca might have the better stat in that regard. But if you do find yourself against an informed Simeone, you're just going to take that L no matter what, because he's going to be able to score 4 goals against you. But luckily today he couldn't do that against Koulibaly. Dom, of the current players, who do you think would make the best manager? My money is on Mertens, says V.H. Yeah, Mertens is a really good shout, and we've seen Mertens actually on the touchlines in previous games give out some instructions and motivation and all that. So I do think Mertens would be a really good coach, at least in terms of that. In the change room, I think players would love to play under Mertens. Just the vibe would be there. Out of these guys that played today, though, let's see. You know what? I can see Elmas being like the coach of North Macedonia in 15 years' time. I can totally see that happening, because he is a player that was able to play in so many positions. He understands the game so well. You put him in right wing, left wing, number 10, defensive midfield. He knows what you need to do in that position. He absorbs information extremely well, according to all the managers that have coached him. So I think, because he's so young, actually, he's only, 22. By the time he reaches 36, 37, if he can continue that, with the amount of information he'd absorb from all these different positions and all these different experiences in different positions, I think he'd be a very, very good manager. And I can totally see him being, North Macedonia's next Goran Pandev. And then, as it's often the case in countries where they don't have many managers come through in those countries, it's very often those players then become coaches of that national team, a bit like Shevchenko did with Ukraine and all that sort of stuff. So I do think actually Elmas in 15 years we might see him coaching North Macedonia, at least, I think. Whether he's going to coach club football, like top elite club football, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. But I can see Elmas being North Macedonia coach for sure. Let's see some more comments. Louis C is saying, I love California. Okay, I don't know where this comment's going, but let me continue. Even with our crazy faces and so many homeless, we have wonderful weather and good incomes. I don't know why I read that comment. It has nothing to do with the game, but my eyes just go to a random comment, and then and then I just read it. I can't filter as I'm speaking live. But yeah, shout out to California, and yeah, shout out to homeless people as well. Hope things get better for them, I guess. Yeah, I don't know what that had to do with the game, man, but maybe I missed the link with some previous comment. Anyways, let's move on and talk about the player ratings, which I know you guys love. So I think for me, man of the match has to be Osimhen, because when you score 2 goals, I'm sorry, but that's an automatic 8 out of 10. He had 3 chances or 2.5 chance, and he scored 2 goals. So he took what he needed to take. That's all you can ask from your number 9. It doesn't matter if he's doing anything else in the game. If you give him a chance and he scores, boom, tick, job done. Politano did really well playing alongside Di Lorenzo on the right-hand side, especially in the first half. So I think they get a very good rating, both of them. Di Lorenzo a bit better, because I think for him, it was actually a bit riskier going so far up in the field, linking up with Politano, then having to come back and defend against Verona, who like to push forward. And then he kept them pretty quiet down that right-hand side. So Di Lorenzo, I think, did really well. And then he got the assist as well. So, both assists came from that right-hand side. One from Politano, one from Di Lorenzo. But Di Lorenzo had to do a bit more work defensively. Ospina 6, he had nothing to save except for that time he got injured. And then the goal that he conceded. Not really much he could do. So just a 6, just average. Not bad, but not good either. Center backs did really well. They kept Simeone quiet, which is really the best you can do. 6 for Mario Rui, because he did allow Faraoni to score in that goal. At the same time, Faraoni is very good at those kind of things. Mario Rui does not have height to his advantage, so even if he was a bit more careful, would he have actually stopped Faraoni from scoring? Maybe not. So, there's only so much you can do when Mother Nature is not on your side. The midfield, I think, did fantastic. First time playing in a 4-3-3 from the start of the game, and it looked like this was just something supernatural for them. We had, as I said many times, we had both quality and quantity in that midfield. And Lozano 6, I think he had some good passes, some good involvements, great positioning, but then also a bit poor in some other areas, in some choices, in some passings. So a very hit and miss every time the ball was around Lozano. So a 6, neither good nor bad. It's more just let's move on kind of thing. Insigne, similar sort of thing. And Elma 6.5, I thought he had a really good impact on the game. And probably if he had played like this for 90 minutes, he would have probably been up there with the others with a 7. But because it was limited to just 20-30 minutes, 6.5. And Spalletti with a bit of a weird 7.5, because I did give him a 7, and then I thought, actually, let's add a 0.5, and I don't know what happened to the font. But it's a 7.5 for Spalletti, because he had the guts to change formation. He had the guts to bench Insigne, had the guts to bench Zielinski, and made it work. Prepared the game extremely well, and the only reason we scored, our first goal, which unlocked the game for Napoli, was because he understood how we needed to play man marking against Verona, or how to defeat Verona's man marking. That's my take on the ratings. But if you got a different idea, then do let me know. For example, Mean says, he says, why does the sample from Spalletti look so different? Yeah, it was like I had a 7, and then I was like, no, he deserves a 7.5 at least. And then I had to do it post, and I don't know what happened to the font, guys. I ain't no artist, guys. You gotta let me off the hook there, okay? It's just the way it came out, okay? Leave the 7.5 alone. good point about Elmas, says V.H. Yeah, I think that will be the case. Mike is saying, across the top 5 leagues, I wonder where Napoli's average height ranks among them. It's got to be near the bottom. Yeah, I mean, guys, we're just short kings, bro. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a short king. I'm a short king myself, so I got no problem against people like Mauro Rui and Lobotka and Politano and whatever. I don't want to hate on them. If they're the shortest team out there, fine. But no, jokes aside, we do need to definitely get a bit more height in the defensive areas, at least. Like that, the fact that Mauro Rui is beaten so often on that left in height is a problem. I think the only time you can really get away with not having height in football, in modern football nowadays, is probably number 10 position and maybe one of the wingers. But again, we saw how actually Lozano having a bit more height than Insigne helped in Napoli's first goal, because he was able to be a distraction for the defenders to help Osimhen score. So yeah, height's becoming definitely more and more important. And again, maybe there's very few positions nowadays where that's not an issue. Like maybe, as I said, only if you're a number 10 and have, and you can use your lower center of gravity for very good reasons, such as your ability to dribble better and faster, and turn around on yourself a bit more. Other than that, if you're not really a dribbler, I don't really see why you would Mauro Rui is not a dribbler, so there's no reason for him to being short. That came out wrong. There's no advantage to him being short. Yeah, that's what I meant. So yeah. This summer, sign a left back, a winger, and a backup striker, and we should be able to compete next season. Again, we are very close to signing a left back, Oliveira from Getafe. Let's actually see how tall Oliveira is. Oliveira is... Let's see what they say on the Google. Bear with me. 185. That's quite tall. That's over 6 foot. So, yeah, that's needed. That's needed. So yeah, happy days. Ticks that box. So yeah. Anyways, guys, enough about height. Let's go to now the stats of the game before we go on to the press conference, just to have a look at what this game was all about. Obviously, guys, there's the match recap on YouTube at the moment. I'm going to drop a comment on there. If you see my comment, smash that like so more people find the channel. But Napoli, 13 shots, more than Verona. 4 on target, more than Verona. Actually ended up having more possession. That wasn't very obvious, actually, because Verona, for long parts of the game, held the ball quite well, and it was Napoli countering. Pass accuracy not super high, and that's because there were a lot of fouls that broke up the play, that made it difficult for Napoli to play. 19 fouls against Napoli, which means that Verona was always right there on us, so it's difficult to get accurate passes through. But the passes that we were trying were actually passes that were going vertical, like we saw with Fabian Ruiz earlier in the analysis of the game. So at least we tried going forward with our passes. And 2 red cards for Verona late into the game. I mean, one of them was after the final whistle, so that doesn't really count in terms of if it affected the game. It doesn't. It just makes our day slightly better. But anyways, guys, actually, let's look at the next games and then the press conference. So we've got a home game against Udinese. Again, home games are tough. Even against Fiorentina and Roma, they're tough because they're at home. And we talked about this earlier. It's harder to play at home for this Napoli team.
Three wins in the last 9 or 10 games at home, because we don't have the opportunity to counter as much when we play at home. So I'm actually more worried about these games than potentially Empoli or potentially Atalanta. But it's super important that we do win against Udinese, because after that there's a break, and after the break it's a sprint to the end, guys. It is a sprint towards the Scudetto. Yes, still Scudetto, because we are still in it, guys. We're still in it. Mathematically, we're in it. It's going to be the last 20% of the season. If you're still in it in the last 20% of the season, then you got to talk about it. You got to talk about the Scudetto. There's no hiding anymore. But tough games. Atalanta, Fiorentina, and Roma after the break. So, yeah, but if we can somehow come away from those games with 7 points, I would say that would be positive. I would say that would be extremely, extremely positive. But yeah, Udinese at home is not necessarily an easy one, guys. And finally, guys, before I let you guys go on this beautiful Sunday, well, it depends where you are. For some people, it might be snowing or raining or windy outside, so it might not be beautiful. For me, well, it's great because I'm in the UK, so it's all right. It's not that beautiful, but it's decent. It's decent, better than it's been some other weekends. But yeah, before I let you go to your potentially beautiful weekends, let's see what Spalletti has had to say during the press conference. So first, he spoke to DAZN and he said Osimhen still doesn't have the spatial awareness between himself and the opponents. Sometimes he goes in for a header when the opponent is 5 meters away, when at times he could stop the ball. He needs to learn how to clean a lot of balls. He needs to learn how to clean all these balls, which means like put it onto the ground, and go from there. Because this is true. Spalletti saying this about Osimhen, the fact that sometimes he's rushing a bit too much in terms of he doesn't really know where he is on the field at times. Maybe he could be a little more calm with his positioning. Let's see. Is there a there is a donation from Daniel Bowen. Thank you, Daniel. Second time today. You gotta stop, bro. You gotta stop. Thank you, man. I appreciate it so much. He's saying, dude, Dom, bro. You said last week Scudetto was no longer possible. Yeah, I know. And then underneath your comment, there's just a bunch of comments saying clean your balls, which, yeah, I mean, you got, bro, clean. And this episode is sponsored by, no, I wish I got sponsored by someone, like a razor company or something, and then I could actually make that into a transition. I could be like, and this is sponsored by so and so. Remember, you gotta clean your balls. And whatever, or like a soap company or whatever. I don't know what, but I'm not sponsored by anyone. This is a sponsor-free zone at the moment. But yeah, do clean your balls if you want to interpret it that way. Anyways, after you've done that, if you have balls, if not, then I don't know. After you've done that, let's go on to more of what Spalletti is saying. He's saying we had a good game, a lot of attention, and let me first actually answer Daniel's comment. I said Scudetto was no longer possible. Well, I don't think I said it was no longer possible. I said there's definitely a step back, and we definitely do need to think about Champions League and securing that. What I did say though is that it's only really possible if we win against Udinese, and then we've got a sprint to the end. So obviously, if we lose against Udinese, then it's all for nothing. It's all for nothing. Sponsored by Borotalco. Only if you've lived in Italy will you know Borotalco. But yeah, I'm not gonna mention brands into this. You know, ID Beats got another brand in there. Zenny D has got another brand in there. Guys, I'm not gonna give free sponsorship to these brands. If they want to be in the show, then you know, they know how to find me. Napoli Talk on Twitter and official Napoli Talk on Instagram. But yeah. Anyways, Spalletti is saying we had a good game with a lot of attention, a lot of sacrifice in certain moments. We had a lot of quality. We showed character. We won a lot of duels, which, you know, at times we missed. And if we were able to maintain this level, then we've got a chance still to be part of that conversation. And obviously he means the conversation for the Scudetto. So Tudor, before the game, Verona's coach, said that Vlahovic is better than Osimhen, and Spalletti responds saying, I'm not going to do comparisons. Vlahovic is a champion and plays for a team like Juventus, who, you know, is a sign that he's got quality. Osimhen is a top player. He has everything on his side, including his age. He's a good kid. He puts everything into it, and he wants to remain. And you know, he offers his full disponibility. I don't know if I said that correctly. Anyways, he just, you know, he's available to put in a shift for Napoli. When you start to talk about technical characteristics, though, then yes, he does have to improve. He does have to improve technically, which I agree. I think Vlahovic is a better striker technically. Osimhen's probably better at headers, better at running into the space. But if there was a situation where you need to dribble past players in a tight space, then maybe I would go for Vlahovic. You know, it just depends on the situation. Obviously, if you could fuse them together and somehow create a Vlahovic-Osimhen mix, then obviously that would be amazing. So yeah. Anthony Navarro saying, I'm not getting my hope up with the Scudetto talk still. This team could win the next 9 games and still not win the title. That's true. We could also win just the next 6 and win the title. You know, everyone's saying how we need to win X number of games. Guys, we could win the next 4 games and still win the title. That's it. You know, like Milan and Inter and Juventus could absolutely go downhill from now. Like you don't know what's going to happen to the other teams. So saying we need this many points or that many points, you know, it's conversations that are useful to get a context, to get an idea, but ultimately we don't know. You know, there was a time in the I don't remember which year it was, but I think it was 1988, where Milan and Napoli were fighting for the Scudetto, and neither team won the last 3 or 4 games, you know, and there was like 1 or 2 points in it. So, you know, stuff like that can happen, you know. It doesn't... Milan and Inter could maybe only win the next 4 or 5 games out of 8 or 9 left, which would give Napoli a lot of chances. So we don't know. Obviously, though, let's not get carried away. Let's not say this game has opened up more possibilities for the title. It just means that we're still in contention. That's all I'm trying to say. Osimhen. Spalletti continues his conference and he says Tudor is doing an amazing job at Verona. He always knows Verona always knows what they need to do when they've got the ball, and they are very, very good at playing man against man. They pass the ball around very well. They're a strong team. You have to be ready to play against these teams, and we gave a very good signal today. Today we earned our salary. We earned our bread today. Let's see. Anguissa, we never really had him ever since his injuries and then also the African Cup. So, yeah, I mean, we've not really seen Anguissa play to his level since maybe end of November. Koulibaly is a monster because he didn't take any time at all to come back to his level. Lobotka is a player that knows how to do so many things in the midfield. He knows how to play with the ball, but he also knows how to reconquer the ball. Zielinski is always playing, and sometimes he needs a rest. It's normal that every once in a while he doesn't play a game. Fabian Lobotka and Anguissa, they were able to hold on to the ball well, and they were able to create a dam in front of the defense and stop Verona from attacking us. It's normal with a team like Napoli that some players are going to be put onto the bench. And then they ask him, what does Napoli need to do to win the title? And he says, Napoli needs to look at themselves and play with continuity, strength, and attention. We have to put in a little bit extra as well, because that's what the city wants. The situation is stimulating, and we still have important opportunities to play this. Spalletti is still talking about potentially winning the title. It's not my words, it's this man's words. So it is what it is. And Abbas LZG with the $0.99 donation. Thank you so much for your support. Didn't leave a comment after that donation, but he did put a comment right under saying, come on, hit that like button. A lot of you guys have hit the like button, and I do appreciate it. A lot of you guys have been donating to the channel and supporting the channel, which is amazing. I was actually taking a look the other day on how much your donations have helped out this channel, and just percentage wise, let me calculate. But yeah, your donations are like 80% of any revenue that this channel makes. And then you guys know for a fact that I support the Cannavaro Ferrara Foundation. Every like and every sub gets donated, 1 cent gets donated to that charity. In December, we were able to donate 50 euros to this foundation. So now that March is coming to a close, I'm gonna have to look at the stats over the last 2 or 3 months and figure out how much to donate by the end of March. I do every 3 months these donations, and your money is actually for large parts going into that, which is pretty awesome, because this helps kids in Naples. And we talked about it several times. Maybe I should probably do a refresher video, because when I started this, it was a year ago-ish. It's pretty awesome that we can help out in one way or another. And Ferrara, he liked my DM when I showed him the thing. So he knows about you guys as well. So that's pretty awesome. Aaron M, thanks for a great stream, Dom. Forza Napoli sempre with a $10 donation. Thank you for supporting the channel. It really helps. Abbas LZJ saying that 99C is for you to buy a chocolate bar. Ooh, dude, no chocolate. We are very close to the summer, guys. There's a lot of you right now thinking, oh, it's only March. Guys, summer body starts today. So no chocolate bars, no nothing. Guys, we had Christmas, we had Befana, we had chocolate this year. We had chocolate. in the past few months. Now we gotta go to the gym, hit the gym, lift some weights, and eat broccoli. That's what we gotta do. No chocolate, guys. No chocolate. But actually, I think I will buy that chocolate bar because I just want chocolate bar, right? But yeah, no. But thank you guys for being part of the stream. You know, we love to talk about football, but we also have quite good banter. And even though I'm speaking for over an hour consecutively, honestly, it doesn't feel that way. So thank you guys. Thank you. Zen ED saying no pizza, no tacos. Yeah, it's a sad life. It's a sad life. But, you know, from now until August, that's what it's got to be. That's what it's got to be. Anthony Navarro with the $2 donation. Thank you, Anthony, for being an OG of this channel and for supporting the channel so much. You know I love you so much, Dom. Forza Domenico. Guys, it's not about me, guys. It's not about me. It's about Napoli. It's Forza Napoli sempre. Don't mix the two things. I'm just the guy that reads your comments, guys. Zenny D is also saying no burgers. Well, burgers have a lot of protein inside, so that could be a bit of a cheat over there. You know, I think burgers we can get away with once a week. Let's not be too strict about this. Zenny D is also saying, can we donate crypto through here? I mean, I've got a crypto wallet, but I'm not gonna start putting it out there, guys. Anyways, Canahum Flame is saying, be a potato-shaped baller like Lobotka. Lobotka is slimmed out now. He's aerodynamic now on the field. You know, he's got that shaved head, lean, no more blubber around him. He's been having his summer body all year. So Lobotka, you know, and that's why he's playing so well. And honestly, guys, yeah, I mean, going back to Lobotka under Gattuso, what was that? I don't know. It kind of makes you wonder, like, if it really was just a matter of he was out of shape and that's why he wasn't playing well, it makes you wonder about Petagna, you know, what could Petagna do for Napoli if he was more in shape? Because it feels like he's still a bit on the heavy side, still a bit slow, you know. Takes a while for him to get into second gear. It kind of makes you wonder, you know, if Petagna could provide more for Napoli if he was more athletic, having seen the difference between Lobotka before and after. Yeah, anyways, guys. Forza Napoli. Toro will beat Inter today 2-1. Scudetto Solon, says Lewis C. I like that enthusiasm from Lewis C. And then now the comments are just ridiculous. Dom Push MP, Humble King Dom. Guys, it's not about. Don't make it about me. That's really don't. But yeah, so I think I'll end it there, guys. Thank you for joining the stream. Thank you for being awesome, for a good laugh, for a good result, and you know, for sharing that here on Napoli Talk with me today. And yeah, we see each other again for the Udinese game. I'm gonna try to do a video in between. Let's see if I can squeeze that in there. And if not, I'll see you for the Udinese game, and then we've got a break. So until then, guys, have a good one, and as always, see you later, and Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.